Hello, welcome to the Crone Zone. I'm Lynn, and this is the Introduction to Learning Tarot course. So, if you tuned in and checked out your soul and personality number a few lessons ago when I described how you might do that, you will find that as we progress through the major arcana numbers over 10, you'll be encountering your personality number. So it would be a really good process actually if you find out, like today's number would be a 5, the Hierophant. If you found out that your soul number was the Hierophant, then you would find out that today's card, Temperance, would be your personality number. And it's really interesting to look at the journey from one to the other, also incorporating the minors of that family number. So today's card is card number 14, and that is Temperance. And I've already given the game away and said that obviously 1 and 4 add up to 5. So you'll also need reference to the Hierophant and the 5s from the minor arcana. Now, it was noticeable to me, and has been noticeable to me, that there are some videos that fewer people watch than others. Justice and Judgment was one. I think people think, oh, I don't want that, perhaps guilty consciences, I don't know, or perhaps we all shrink from that all-seeing eye, I don't know. But the other one that I noticed fewer people watched was the 5s, and I think it was because of that word conflict. And that's very interesting that frightens people. There's a good reason why it does. But I think today's card, Temperance, holds the key for how we eventually surmount that disruptive energy. So, if you'd like to get those cards out of your deck, we'll carry on and have a further look today at the Temperance card. Thank you. Coming off the energy of the Hanged Man and death, as we have in the past two lessons, we see straight away there is a tranquil energy about card 14. This is the only depiction of an angel alone. There are no human beings presided over here, as there are with the other angelic presences. And this presence of a solitary angel moves the card out of time and space, in a sense, out of the busy frenzy of the world, into a state of grace. And the process that is going on here, we understand, is a heavenly one, an important one. The angel holds 2 cups, and we already know the association of cups with the emotions and the heart. Something is flowing between the cups in a rather magical way. Is it a liquid? Is it a current? We're not sure. It's being blended between the cups. It appears to flow as much in one direction as another. The angel has 1 foot on the land and 1 in the waters of the unconscious. So again, we have this blending of consciousness and the unconscious. The triangle within the square on the angel's breast signifies creation, manifesting in matter, a blend of heaven and earth, if you like. This theme of mixing and blending continues. It's clear by the placement at the third eye and at the heart centre that this is also indicative of the balance of the mind with the heart. And here we come to the meaning of temperance. It is the blending and synthesizing of the opposites, reconciliation between the conscious and unconscious, between matter and spirit, heart and mind. And it is the mastering in the quality of temperance which will enable us to take the path to the shining glorious sun in the distance. Notice too that the angel is an hermaphrodite, a blending of male and female, yet another reconciling of opposites. And you'll notice the yellow water irises to the side of the angel. Iris is the goddess of the rainbow. And of course, it is the rainbow bridge which links heaven to earth. So I'd like to pick up on the fact that there's only an angel on this card. There is no human being on it. So I think it's a message to us that in order to handle all of the episodes of life, we really do need to tap into our inner angel, our inner guide. There's also a message here that this takes time. And time, of course, is a great component of patience, isn't it? But it's like these things can only be resolved, these opposites can only be resolved and reconciled with patience, with time. Of course, we're not angels, much as we may try to tune in to a higher energy, be guided by our inner angel, etc. In daily readings, the message from Temperance is going to manifest at lots of different levels, as you'd expect. It's a major arcana card. It has many, many fractals and levels of meaning. And of course, seeing this card in a reading may mean stop drinking so much, moderate it, stop eating too much, stop sleeping too much, working too much, having too much sex, doing anything too much, overspending, over everything. Whoa. Moderate, temperance. I think that's a very basic message of this card that all of us can relate to, because it is the very first step, isn't it, to a higher spiritual process of integration. And we can all swing to excess. Of course we will, temporarily sometimes, but we don't want to stay there. We have to balance that out in a moderate and balanced way. I think it's also, of course, of not rushing into any actions or judgments. It's about, whoa, take a step back. How can all of this be mended, reconciled? Don't be hot-headed. Think with your heart. Yes, I won't change that. I'll leave that in. Think with your heart. Try to think of a reconciling, a bigger picture. Because this is also the healing angel. This is a huge card for healing things within us, healing things in the world around us. It's almost a magical process, an inner alchemy, if you like, for mending the hurts and hassles and conflicts of life. Let's find out a little bit more then about temperance and those conflicting fives. Let's look now at temperance and the other cards in the family of fives. You can see that the fives of the minor arcana paint a pretty harsh picture of life. It looks very much like survival mode, primitive fighting for our corner, as we can see with the swords card there. Mental and physical struggle, trying to exercise our will, banging against the wills of others, as with the Five of Wands. Experiencing emotional hurts and disappointments and letdowns. And then scrabbling, which would be the cups, of course, and then scrabbling for limited resources, feeling hard done by, feeling a sense of lack and a poverty mindset. So living at this level, at this 3D level, no wonder we need the spiritual laws of the Hierophant in this almost Wild West situation. But when we come to temperance, we have an opportunity to move on. Because you see, we suffered the sublimation, the renunciation of that roaring primitive ego with the Hanged Man. And whether we liked it or not, we've been catapulted through the changes that the death card has brought to our lives. Now, temperance is a natural development coming out of those two previous cards, and very important for the card that's going to come after it as well, but we'll get to that in due course. So when things really go up in flames, we don't have to resort to the strategies of the minor fives. Now, this isn't a passive energy either, because we're seeking balance to reconcile what's opposite while remaining patient and calm and working from the heart as well as the head. Sometimes we think of the word temperance being about moderation, even abstinence, but the word is also linked to tempering, to changing things. This idea of tempering steel in the fire to make it stronger. And so the process of temperance is with us and with our spirit. So whilst with the energy of the fives, we were in need of the wise teacher, the Hierophant, to act as a bridge to bring divine law to earth. With temperance, we can begin a much more internal process. But we don't simply receive a message of conduct. We are living it out. So earlier on, I gave a few pointers about some of the obvious readings that temperance will point to in a spread, some of the daily, everyday, the things you're very likely to encounter to do with this card before we get elevated up to the levels of meaning it can have. But I'd like to return to the notion of temperance as the healing angel, because I really do believe that it is the card that fixes so many ills. And those ills are, of course, the things as exemplified in the fives. These cards of strife, loss, conflict, and being abject. They are problems that life is going to keep presenting to us. We will come into conflict with other people's values. We'll come into conflict with their will, certainly. We will come into conflict with them emotionally because we will have different needs. We'll be coming from different places. We will think differently, and we can be competing with them avariciously for resources. That's kind of a base level of human life, isn't it? But the healing angel can come in and help us find a much better way, because we want to get past that duality of I'm in conflict with you, you're in conflict with me. With the justice card, we saw the need for justice, for fairness, for balance. That was a very mental activity. That's an activity of the mind, very essential, very essential. It informs the laws of our society, rather like the Hierophant informs the spiritual laws of our society. But if we want to really heal those things, then only the spiritual level will do it. And it will do it through the magical alchemy of this process of reconciling opposites, of mending things that are sundered, of bringing things together. It isn't either or, it's both and. It's a synthesis into a whole new thing, a higher thing. But how? How? Well, seeking inner guidance, taking the time, stepping back from the fray. That's beginnings. And then it comes down to forgiveness, self-control, moderation, understanding, those spiritual traits. And it is only those that will enable us to perform this magic and find this peaceful middle ground, this middle path on the tree of life, the way to go. And we are going to really need these qualities when we encounter the next card on our journey, which is going to be the devil. Okay, I'll see you next time for that. Bye.